Hello and welcome back to Tech and EduSpark Hub, where technology meets education. Imagine you are designing a simple program that decides whether someone can enter a movie theater, but with a twist. Not only do we check the age, we also consider whether the person has a ticket and even what type of ticket do they have. This is where nested if, elif, and else statements become your superpower in Python. Stick with me till the end and I will show you how to structure complex decisions step by step. Just like I said earlier, let's say we are building a movie theater access program where we'll be checking if someone is 18 or older. If yes, then we'll check if they have a ticket. And if they do, we'll check what type of tickets do they have. Maybe it is VIP or regular ticket. And if they are under 18, we'll deny an entry access immediately. In Python, if, elif, and else let us control the flow of decisions. But when decisions depend on other conditions inside them, we use the nested if statements. Let's break it down with a practical example. To start this, let's prompt the user by using the print function to let the user know what this program is all about. So you can just simply type welcome to movie theater access. And this way, the user can be aware of what this program is all about. Looking at our to-do list, we will have to get the age of user to let them know if they have an entry access or not. And to get the age of the user, we can just simply use the input function to prompt the user by asking them to enter your age. And this way, the user can be able to make an input to these lines of code. And to get a hold of this user input, we can just simply assign this line of code to a variable called age by using the equal sign. And this way, whatever the user enter to these lines of code, we can easily get a hold of it using this variable called age. And also, since the user will be entering a number data type to these lines of code, we can just simply declare these lines of code as an integer data type because the possible value the user can enter to this line of code is a whole number. And this way, when the user enter an input to this line of code, we can easily get a hold of it using this age variable, and also the code won't raise an error because we have declared it as an integer data type. Looking at our second to-do list, we have to check if the user has a ticket to let them know if they have an entry access or not. And to do this, we can just simply use the input function to ask the user, do you have a ticket? And in addition to this, we can just simply give the user an option or a hint of what type of response we expect back from the user. So in this case, I'll just be using the yes or no option. And this way, the user can know what type of response or answer we expect back from them to these lines of code. And to get a hold of these lines of code, we can just simply assign these lines of code to another variable called as ticket. You can use anything you want as a variable, but I'm just using as ticket in this case because it is very much easier to understand. And we don't need to declare these lines of code as any data type because we'll be expecting a word or a string input from the user. So we can just leave it like this. Don't blink because this part is where it gets more interesting. In this part, we'll be checking for each condition since we can be able to access the user input using the variable assigned to each lines of code. And with this, we can check for each conditions and give the user a feedback based on each conditions. To check for the first condition, we can start by writing the if statement to check if age is greater than or equals to 18 with a colon at the back of our statement. What this means is that if this age is standing as a variable to these lines of code. So if the age that the user entered to these lines of code is greater or equal to 18, we can simply indent this because it is on this indentation that we'll be putting what we want to happen if the age is greater than or equal to 18. But in this case, I'll still be leaving this indentation blank because I want us to fully understand how the nested if, elif, and else statement works, the power of indentation, and also how the control flow. So in this case, let's say what if the age is not greater than or equal to 18? So you can just simply write the else statement on the same paragraph as the if statement. And remember, the else statement doesn't take any input. So we can just simply put the colon in front of our else statement. And this else statement is standing for if the age is not greater than 18. So which means if the age is less than 18, what do we want to happen to the user? We can just simply prompt the user by using the print function to tell the user, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter. And this way we have complete the first condition, which means if the age is greater than 18, we can put what we want to happen under this if statement. And if the age is not greater than 18, we can just simply use the else statement to tell the user, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter. And this way the first condition is completed. Now to the second condition to check if they have a ticket or not. Remember in this line 5, we have already used the input function to ask the user, do you have a ticket? And this lines of code, we have already assigned it to a variable called as ticket. So in this case, if the age is greater than 18, definitely we'll be proceeding to the next step. But if the age is not greater than 18, it will jump to this else block by telling the user, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter. But if the age is greater than or equal to 18, then we can use our nested if statement by using the indentation under this if age is greater than or equal to 18 by saying if as ticket is equal to yes. So with a colon at the back of our string, this as ticket is standing for these lines of code or this input that the user will enter to these lines of code. So the variable as ticket is standing for this input. So if the as ticket is equal to yes, the reason why I put this yes in a string is because the input the user will be making to these lines of code will be in form of a string. So if the as ticket, which means if whatever the user enter to these lines of code is equal to yes, definitely we'll be proceeding to the next step by indenting what we want to happen under this condition. But in this case, I won't be putting anything under this indentation yet because I want us to fully understand how the control flow. So if as ticket, which means whatever the user enter to these lines of code is equal to yes, definitely we'll be proceeding to the next step. But what if the user did not have any tickets? Then we can use another else statement under this condition on the same indentation with this if statement by using the else to tell the user, sorry. So we can just simply use the print function here to tell the user, sorry, you need a ticket to enter. So now notice we have two conditions here. The first condition is that if the age is greater than or equal to 18, definitely it will proceed to this next step by checking if they have a ticket or not. But if the age is not greater than or equal to 18, definitely it will jump to this else block by telling them, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter. But if the age is greater than 18 or equal to 18, it will check if they have a ticket. And if they have a ticket, we can put what we want to happen under this condition. But if they do not have a ticket, it will jump to this else block under this if statement that they have the same paragraph and tell the user, sorry, you need a ticket to enter. And we have completed the second condition now. Before we proceed to the third condition, it is always advisable when you are expecting a string as an input from the user to always put dots lower at the back of your code because this dot lower is going to format whatever the user enter to these lines of code to a lowercase letter. Because if the user enter a yes or no answer, maybe the user type the yes in a capital case or the no in a capital case, this is going to format it to a lowercase. You can see in our code we are writing this in a lowercase, but if we would not put these dots lower in these lines of code, if the user go and enter a capital case, this might break our code. So it is always advisable to always put the dots lower at the back of our lines of code when expecting a string input or a string response from the user as seen in these lines of code. So whatever the user enter to these lines of code in a string data type, it is going to format it to a lowercase. So this way our code won't break. Now we have two conditions already. Looking at our third condition, we have to check what type of tickets they have, if they have a VIP or a regular ticket. So in these lines of code, we have to nest this condition under this if as ticket because it is if they have ticket that we can check what type of ticket they have. So if as ticket is equal to yes, definitely we can indent under that condition by using the input function to ask the user what type of ticket do you have. And as always, you can always give them an hint on the type of response we want by putting a VIP or a regular to these lines of code. And to get a hold of these lines of code, we can easily assign it to a variable by putting it in front of this code. So we can assign it to a variable called ticket type with an equal sign. And this way, whatever the user enter to these lines of code, we can easily get a hold of it using this ticket type variable. And like I said, we can easily format this user input to a lowercase letter by using the dot lower at the back of our code. And this way, whatever case the user enter to these lines of code, this dot lower will easily format it to a lowercase letter. So under this condition, if ask ticket is equal to yes, it will ask the user what type of ticket do you have, VIP or regular. So you can easily check for the type of ticket by saying if ticket type is equal to, so let's check for VIP first, with a colon at the back of our condition. So under this condition, we can simply prompt the user by using the print function to tell the user, welcome, you have got the front seat. So this way, notice how the control is flowing, which means in the first condition, it will check if the age is greater than or equal to 18. If the age is not greater than or equal to 18, it will jump to this else block by saying, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter. But if the age is greater than or equal to 18, it will proceed to this next condition by checking as ticket, which means if the input that the user entered to these lines of code is yes, so it will proceed to what is indented under this condition by asking the user what type of ticket do you have, VIP or regular. So next up, it will jump to this if block by checking if the ticket type is VIP or regular. So if ticket type is VIP, it will tell the user, welcome, you have got a front seat. But what if the ticket type is not a VIP ticket? Maybe it is a regular ticket. We can just simply check for another condition by putting the Elif block on the same indentation as the if block. So we can just simply say Elif ticket type is equal to regular with a colon at the back of our statement. We can just simply indent under that condition by using the print function to tell the user, welcome, you have got the second row seat. And this way, if the ticket that the user enter to these lines of code is a regular ticket, it will tell the user, welcome, you have got the second row seat. And this is the way the nested and the control flow works. But on the other hand, what if the user enter an input that is not pertaining to this VIP or regular option that we give in these lines of code? We can just simply use the else statement. Notice how the else statement is also indented under this if statement. And remember, the else statement doesn't take any input. So else, we can just simply prompt the user by using the print function to tell the user you have entered an invalid response. And we can just simply remove this space. Now, with these lines of code, we have complete our movie theater access program. Notice how the if, elif, and else statements are inside one another. This is called nesting. We go deeper step by step, just like peeling layers of onion until we reach the final decision. Nested conditions are everywhere. ATM pin checks, online shopping discounts, grading system, and more. Whenever one condition depends on another, nested if else makes it possible. Now, let's test this code by running it to check if everything is all working good. So when I run this code, you can see it tells me, welcome to the movie theater access, which is the work of this print function in line 1. And on the other hand, it is asking enter your age, which is the work of this input function in line 3. So when I enter an age, let me just put an age that is lesser than 18, in this case, to test for the first condition. I will be putting 13 here, and when I click on enter on the keyboard button, you can see it ask, do you have a ticket? Which is the work of this input function in line 5. So let me just put yes. And when I click on yes, you can see it tells me, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter, because it has checked for this first condition in this line 7, which means the age is not greater or equal to 18. So it is jumping to this else block in line 19 by telling me, sorry, you must be at least 18 to enter. So let me run this code to test for the other condition. So in this case, let me just enter an age that is greater than 18. So let me just put 20 in this case and click on enter. And when it asks, do you have a ticket? Let me just put yes in this case. And when I click on enter, you can see it is proceeding to the next step by asking me what type of ticket do you have. And that is the work of this input function in line 9. So let me just put a VIP ticket here. And when I click on VIP, you can see it tells me, welcome, you have got a front seat. So let me run this code again to test for the other condition. Let's say I enter an age that is greater than 18 still. Let me just put 21 in this case. And when I click on enter, you can see it ask, do you have a ticket? So let me just click no here. And when I click on enter, you can see it tells me, sorry, you need a ticket to enter. Which means it has checked for this age and the age is greater than 18. So it is proceeding to the next step by checking if I have a ticket. So if ask ticket is equal to yes, it will proceed to the next step by asking what type of ticket do you have. But if ask ticket is not true, which means if the user doesn't have a ticket, it will jump to this else block by telling me sorry, you need a ticket to enter, and that is what's happened in these lines of code. So let's test for another condition. Let's say I enter an age that is greater than 18 still. Let me just put 25 in this case. And when I click on enter, you can see it asks, do you have a ticket? Let me just put yes. And when I click on enter, you see it asks, what type of ticket do you have? Let me put a regular ticket here. And when I click on enter, you can see it tells me, welcome, you have got the second row seat, which means it has checked the age first and the age is greater than 18. So it is proceeding to this condition indented under that age. And if ask ticket, which means if whatever the user inputs these lines of code is yes, definitely it will ask the user, what type of ticket do you have as seen on this console? And if the user enter a VIP ticket, it will tell the user, welcome, you have got the front seat. But if the user enter a regular ticket, which is the work of this Elif statement, it will tell the user, welcome, you have got the second row seat as seen on what is displayed on the console. So you can play around this code by entering several inputs, and this is how the nested if, elif, and else statement works. Now, you know how to use the nested if, elif, and else to handle complex decisions in Python. In the next video, we will level it up and cover how to make these decisions more efficient with logical operators. If you found this helpful, don't just leave, hit that like button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next practical Python tutorial. And hey, drop a comment below what real world problem do you want me to solve using the Python nested if statement, and I will see you in the next one.